And again, through Instagram, this gentleman, an elderly gentleman, used the acronym S.H.I.E.L.D, S-H-I-E-L-D, and then I kind of looked at it, I paraphrased it, and I made it my own. So mine is called S.H.I.E.L.D.S with a plural. So those of you guys that are not dentists or do not have access to oral health, I'm going to kind of very briefly summarize my editorial here for you. S.H.I.E.L.D.S, S-H-I-E-L-D-S. S stands for stress management. There's no doubt in our profession and in life in general, things can get very, very stressful very quickly. And our ability to handle and manage the stress that makes the difference. And so, number one, we have to recognize the causes or the etiological factors that causes the stress, and we try to manage it, eliminate it, or you have to yourself take care of yourself, because we have lots of medical reports that indicate symptoms. My medical doctor, I went for my annual checkup, he goes, in the literature it's showing about 60–70% of patient reporting symptoms to the doctors, the underlying factors related to stress that ails you and causes the symptoms. But the root cause is actually stress in life. We see it in dentistry, right? The parafunctional habits, the cracked teeth, and the muscles, tones, and stuff like that, that's causing the breakages in our dentistry in their own natural teeth. So stress, we need to recognize it and learn to how to manage it. H stands for health. And when we're talking about health, it's just not physical, it's emotional, psychological, spiritual, all forms of health. It's one of those things, when you have it, you kind of don't appreciate it. When it's taken away from you, then you really miss it. Case in point, if you have a flu, some people have COVID, you're bedridden, and all you're just saying, oh geez, I just wish I can, go to work and be normal, take some medication and recover. So, of course, there are other ailments, and that is why the cause that we want to choose is with sick kids. And some people are not as fortunate as some of us, and we want to try our best to get back to support and help the research and development and those that are less fortunate. So I stands for interaction. So Harvard studies and so on and so forth shows that, this kind of interaction, social parties, a lot of you guys know I have a house and I host a lot of parties, and you say, oh, what's wrong with you? You just like to party? Well, it's just not that. I know underlying all this, for us to be happy and have a social network and friends and close colleagues actually is going to be, kind of the best medicine to keep you sustaining into your lifestyle. So you guys can read up the Harvard study, that's a long study that shows that. E stands for exercise. Again, inherently, you already know the importance of exercise. So I try my best now to always dedicate some time to physically get very, very active. I like to play a lot of tennis, so I have some tennis buddies that just even today, right before this, we played for 2 hours. And when I'm on the court, I'm very appreciative that I have friends and colleagues that we can play and enjoy each other's company. Whether you win or lose doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter, but you suck. By the way, Mary and I are going to Bahamas. We booked 3 private lessons with coaches. So watch out when we come back. I hope in 3 lessons we could be a bit better. So that's exercise. L stands for learning. I run a continuing education course, and over the years, you kind of reflect and think about things. I'm one of those people that when I learn something, I'm actually very, very happy. It might be something small or some gadget that my phone can do, or some, dentistry related stuff by talking to colleagues or reading journals and going to courses and stuff. We all have to admit we still have a lot to learn. I don't think it ends because you've done 30 years, 40 years of dentistry, and I just don't think that it's fair to our patients to kind of stop. So I like to learn as much as I can, whether it be reading, whether it be talking to colleagues, and sharing experiences and stuff like that. D, shields, D stands for, can you guys guess? Determination, what else? What? Drive. No.
Dollar.
D stands for diet. Now, I'm going to be the worst one to use as an example. I don't think I should talk much about it. It's one of those things, do what you're supposed to do, but don't do what I ask you to do, because I'm not a good example of it. I wish we could have a better diet, just our business is very busy and stuff like that. But certainly we have to pay attention to, you know, what we're eating and consuming. It will affect our immune system, our health and stuff like that. So this one is my take. It's shields with the plural S. And can anybody guess what that S is? If you guess it right. I was going to say, if you guess it right, you get to the front of the line for the waffles. And no, it's not sex. That's in the exercise. That was part of the exercise. Good guess though. S, anybody? Shields. Sleep is important. That was in the original. In the original SHIELDS acronym, that first S was actually sleep. They talk about sleep studies and how long you need to rest, 6 to 8 hours, adults and stuff. But I didn't use that one. I switched it to stress management. So S, to me, is the most important, is actually spiritual. Without, you know, everything I just talked about, you know, the friends, the interactions, the learning, the health, none of that would be possible if it wasn't for a spiritual leader. And that is why I asked Dr. Yaman to not, you know, 30 years, whatever, we just move on. There's a lot of dentists in the room that have gone past 30 years. But I wanted to remind everybody that during this time, it's not about me, it's not about the party, it's about, you know, the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. I am a Christian. Some of you guys may not believe it, and some of you guys may think, you know, you should be a better Christian than I think I should be. But again, there were many examples in my life that when you're down and when you're challenged and when you think as a human, what can I possibly do? And whenever I hit those kind of rock bottoms, and I have hit a few of those scenarios, and I just remember, all I have to do is pray and God will answer my prayers. Now, I want to share one story with you, which I don't share a lot, but I think some of you guys know, most of you guys don't. After 13 years of GP practice, I had always wanted to become a specialist. This started in dental school. I went to an oral surgery fellowship, and I had always wanted to specialize. During the 13 years as a GP, I would have recurrent dreams that I'm in a hospital program or I'm returning back to school to learn more. And after 13 years, I said, you know, and we had children, and then that was a priority to stabilize the family. After 13 years, I said, this is it. I'm turning 38, 39. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not meant to happen, then so be it. So I applied for perio, actually, periodontics. My mentor, Dr. Carl Misch, says, do perio. You don't have to do lab work. You like to do surgeries, just do perio. So I applied to University of Toronto periodontics graduate program. With my 13 years of practice, with all the CEs of all the letter of recommendations I got, and I got an interview. And to me, the best analogy is, it's like Michael Jordan going back to his high school and trying out for the high school basketball team. And it was a no-brainer, it was a given. I did my interview, maybe I was arrogant, maybe I was cocky, I don't know what happened. And I said, I'm with 4 positions, 12 candidates, I'm in. I already know I'm in. It's almost like saying, when am I starting? And wouldn't you know it, I got declined, I got rejected. And I was saying, that was very, very strange. I'm like kind of overqualified. Why did I get rejected? Then, you know, for 2-3 months, it was just a disbelief. It's like, how can it happen? what other qualifications are they looking for? Why would this be the case? And for 2-3 months, I'm going to borderline say I was a little bit depressed. I wouldn't say that bad, but certainly it was a kick in the teeth, if you will, the phrase. So I said, okay, you know what? Pick up your socks, regroup, wipe the tears away, and just figure out what you need to do and why it happened. So the following year, I applied to PROS. And as it turns out, they were taking 2 residents every year, or 4 residents every other year. So when I applied to them, they were taking 4 every other year. So the year I applied for payroll, you can even apply to PROS. So I applied for payroll first, got rejected, and I applied to PROS. So there were 8 candidates that they were interviewing, 4 positions. Odds are 50-50, right? Pretty good. I go, okay, you know what? I'm not going to be so arrogant this time. Let's just go in and be humble and see if I can get a position. I sit down for the interview. The new director says, I'm the new director. I'm not taking 4 anymore. I don't want to do 4 every other year. I'm going to just take 2. So my chances went from 50% down another 25%. Now there's 8 candidates for 2 positions. So, you know, you get a little nervous and, okay, is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? As it turns out, that I was one of the 2 that got accepted. So I was lucky and so on and so forth. So when the time I got rejected from Perio and getting accepted to PROS and doing what I'm doing today, I look back and I kind of think about what happened and why did it happen. What had happened was God said to me, Perio is not for you, and this is what you want, but it's not your time. In my time, I will give you what you want. And again, in reflection, he did exactly what was needed, and actually, knowing what I know today, it would have been, I would have not regret it, but I know he put a better path for me. So again, it's one of those things, if you pay attention, you're patient, and put your trust in God, things will come to fruition. Again, there are other examples, I don't want to get into it, but right now I just want to share that story with you. So not everything is you know, fun and games and stuff like that. There will be times there will, well, all of us will have challenges and individual issues, if you will, or problems. And all I suggest to you to do is attach to your spiritual connection and just don't rely on human intellectual or emotional strength. We do from time to time rely on a greater being that's going to take care of us. Again, I'm not a preacher, I'm just sharing my story with you, so I want to thank you for listening.